Hello and welcome to BG Podcast, episode 254. I'm A.J. Bingham, founder and CEO of Bingham Group, and joining me is associate and co-host Hannah Garcia.
Hello, everybody.
As always, we are reviewing the prior week in Austin politics. This is the week of May 27th, as well as what's up for the week ahead for this week, the week of June 3rd. Should be a quieter week, but let's talk about last week. We had a lot kind of building up towards council's last meeting on before the summer recess on May 30th. Hannah, any just observations? We were there for a little while. We watched the rest, but thoughts? 184 item agenda.
Yeah, and I know you think 184 items, but it actually wasn't too long of a meeting. Definitely still a lot of time spent on public communication, but that was amended and changed so that now you only have 2 minutes to speak
Mm-hmm.
instead of 3 minutes per item. So, formally it used to be 3 minutes to speak, but now it's just 2 minutes to speak. So I think that lawsuit that had been filed, that kind of called into question how long a person is able to speak, kind of ended up backfiring just a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
they did in fact lose a minute in the long run. And so our next council meeting when we return will likely be much shorter than these previous ones because public testimony will be shorter and more condensed.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing of note that we saw a lot of public testimony on was item 182, which was related to the environmental investment plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are all plans. This is just a plan to see how are we going to pay for a lot of the things that we need, infrastructure wise, and um, I guess trying to offset some of the damage we might do to the environment. How are we going to pay for those big projects? Because at the end of the day, we have to keep the lights on, the trash men running and all of that good stuff. And so a lot of these things that are investing in the environment are kind of an afterthought for the city. So this is a plan just to see how we're going to finance all of this stuff. And it's a lot of money
It
needed.
ain't
And
cheap.
so
It ain't cheap.
yeah, it's a lot of money that's going to be needed. And so one of the things that was floated was potentially a climate fee. And we don't necessarily know what that'll look like. This was something that was proposed to kind of help pay for a lot of these things because you see a big ticket item, and I think the taxpayer thinks immediately, who's going to pay for this? Is it going to be
Mm-hmm.
me? And we've already seen a lot of taxes levied for things that'll end up being good for us, such as, Project Connect, childcare, a lot of other things that are going to be great. And so I think, some people may argue that this is a little bit scary.
One thing, right? So on another child care one, I would say preface it, that one will go to the voters too, as
Mhm.
well. So I think that in the fall, that was one on the county side. I think this one, it's both. I think there's anticipated to be some, or contemplated rather, to be some form of bond initiative that would go to the voters. But apart from that, climate fee, particularly the business community, right? Is that going to be, essentially it's an administrative fee somewhere in our, on the draft budget for a line item on there, right? To like a 1% or 1 cent or whatever it may be for it. And so that part, I believe, is still being what they may end up looking like is being discussed between city staff and council staff, with some recommendations or some some clarity from this coming next month now in July, in line with the draft budget, which is released on Monday. Is it Monday, July 12th, which council will be coming for a special meeting to receive from the city manager. So more to come there. I think that right now, though, it's being floated. We haven't heard any detail on it beyond some form of fee, apart from a bond proposition that would go to the voters. But this kind of fee would most likely fall to the business community, commercial building owners, people who have commercial uses for water and power. So more to come there, and we'll keep you all apprised. And then next week, police chief search. So for those, as we've mentioned in prior episodes, the city manager TC Broadnax launched the search for Austin's new permanent police chief on May 15th. That posting closes on next Monday, June 10th. I don't know what that time's gone. But again, they're using the same search firm they use for the city manager search. Unlike the city manager search, this search doesn't ultimately the city manager is the one who hires the chief. I don't see a world that Mr. Rodnax doesn't include counsel in those deliberations as well, there will be a community engagement process uh, worked out through Mosaic Partners. But ultimately, this hire is at it's TC's to make. I believe this. Okay, he will be taking council's guidance on that, but he is in his role as the highest ranking city employee. He is the only role that can be hired by the council, and thus everything below him reports to him. And so more to come there. I think if it's anything like the city manager search, and again, this is all relying on the pool of candidates available, and their particular backgrounds. I do see a bit more, a slightly bit more sensitivity about this role relative to the city manager's role, just because of the direct nature of what that police chief does and what they're over. And given our past, let's say the last 5 years in Austin with 3 police chiefs. So, in the
Yeah.
police department, and the recent news last week. So that more to come there. But again, with council out for regular business until July, perfect time to conduct this and have more breathing room to focus on the search and getting a quality hire for the city of Austin.
Yeah, I definitely think that there'll be a lot of feelings about this potential hire, no matter who we hire. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what kind of community engagement they do, if it'll be similar to what we saw with the city manager, or if it will be, more or less robust.
And again, on the horizon, after following next Monday, again, council will be on recess until July 12th, and so we don't expect a lot to be going on at City Hall. Obviously, that can change any day, and we'll be watching that reporting. But as of now, it should be relatively quiet summer, and really as city staff. I say it's council, while council's on recess, doesn't mean work's not happening. I think particularly around the budget. So in parallel, I think for those who we're not engaged this year as of yet anyway around any appropriations work. But if you're an entity or firm that hasn't yet, you should be connecting with city staff on your asks, because this is once it's released, if it's like the past several years, there's not a lot of wiggle room, and I think just based on having a $3.4 million deficit for FY24, I don't imagine a lot of new money being found, put that way.
Yeah, there's not just, money falling from the sky, unfortunately,
Never is. And
although
then
we need it.
yeah, much like the rain. Much like the
Hmm.
rain. So with that, y'all, you have a great rest of the week. Again, this is recording this today on Monday, June 3rd. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.